Okay, so I believe these ones might look a little bit different in your guys' notes. If I'm not mistaken, this -10 is a +10 over here. So if you wanted to move that 10, you'd just go +10, and they would chunga chunga, and you'd end up with this. If you don't understand what I'm saying, just rewrite the equation as I have it up here, okay? This quadratic formula doesn't work unless it equals 0. If it doesn't equal 0, we can't do anything. We can't use the quadratic formula. So just make it equal 0 before you start. All right, so in this one, we've got A is 1, B is 6, and C is -10. So when we do the quadratic formula, x is equal to opposite b, so -6, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all over 2a. So 6 squared is 36. -4 times -10 is positive 40. So we have 36 plus 40 is 76, all over 2. So this right here just turned into 76, and we'll split our two solutions. We've got x is equal to -6 plus the square root of 76 divided by 2, and then x is equal to -6 minus the square root of 76 over 2. If we type that in, (1.36). And then if we do the minus or the subtraction version, we've got -6 minus the square root of 76 divided by 2, and we have -7.36. All right. This one also looks totally different than yours, so make it look equal to 0. Like make this one equal 0 if it doesn't already, or just copy this one down. So for this, A is 3, B is -10, and C is 15. So this one, the A value is a little bit different. So we're going to have x is equal to opposite B, so that's 10, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all over 2a. So we got 10 plus or minus the square root of, all right, we got 100, and then 4 times 3 is 12 times 15, oh, forget it. 4 times 3 times 15 is 180. Negative, so minus 180 over 6. So we get x is equal to 10 plus or minus the square root of -80 over 6. Here's a big red flag right here. Because that equals a negative inside the radical, if you type that into your calculator, it's going to say non-real answer. So 10 plus the square root of -80. It's already telling us we can't do anything with it. So for now, we are going to say non-real answer. Next, in the next section, we'll know how to deal with this. But for right now, we're just going to call it good. All right, and then the last chunk that we're going to do is about projectile motion. This is basically if you throw stuff in the air, what's the path that it follows? If you guys know if you guys have taken physics, you know that things follow the same sort of like rise and fall pattern, I guess, and they both are parabolas, or all of them are parabolas. So the equation is y equals ax squared plus v sub 0 x plus h sub 0. And there's a couple things we need to define here. A is, we'll come back to A, that one's the most confusing. V sub 0 is initial velocity. You can think of it as speed. It's not exactly the same as speed, but think of it as speed. Like how quick is it going at first? H sub 0 is the initial height. Now, A is potentially two different things. So if we're working in our system, like the US system of measurement where we use like feet, miles, and all that stuff, A is going to be negative 16 because it's the gravitational like force. So negative 16 if using feet. If you're in the metric system, it's going to be negative 4.9. So if you're using meters. So I'll pause the video and then we will look at a couple examples of how to use this formula.